Faster than a speeding bullet.
I ran until my muscles burned and my veins pumped battery acid.
More powerful than a locomotive.
An idea is like a virus. Resilient. Highly contagious.
Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Better Humanology podcast. My name is Jerred Moon, and with me is Talon Schwam. What's up, Talon?
With me as always. What's up,
As
everyone?
always, yeah. So, super excited to be here, man. I've actually listened to our last podcast a few times to get me kind of, amped up for 2016. Listen to all those guests spout out their better humanness, and it's been a lot of fun. And we're going to kind of continue that theme this week, talking about, ways to kind of have an amazing year in 2016. We actually have a lot of good information to share with you today. But I have to start with a big question and give it to Talon and the listeners. Did you have a resolution this year? Did you set one on January 1st?
Heck no. Heck no.
Why not, man?
Because resolutions suck. Seriously, resolutions are like, to me, in my mind, they're not goals, which is maybe we're going to talk about later on today. But they're like trendy to me. Like, everybody's like, what's your resolution? Did you set a resolution this year? Are you, trying to do something like that? And it's like, to me, it's like keep up with the Joneses. It's not like, because I feel like people choose resolutions to things like that. It's like, oh, I'm trying to lose 15 pounds, or, I'm trying to do something else cosmetic that people will notice. So I'm saying it out loud to help myself, remind myself to push myself to do it. Whereas, like we're going to talk about later on today, a goal is totally different. It's something that you feel like you need or you want to achieve. And so, dude, I feel like resolutions are they're just, I don't know, folly. They're just, it's a toy. It's a way we can communicate with each other and say, hey, well, what are you trying to do differently this year?
And it sounds like you have an extreme hatred for resolutions, which is cool. So we are going to talk about resolutions, or goals, should I say, and then we'll even give a roadmap. Today, that's kind of the plan. But, I mean, typical resolutions, join the gym, quit smoking, be more productive.
They're never achieved. Right.
Yeah, learn the piano. So I'll go ahead and read some stats about resolutions to kind of see, quiz yourself out there and see how you're doing. Personally, I do not set resolutions either, but we'll talk about what I do here in a minute. So 25% of people abandon their New Year's resolutions after 1 week. That's a big chunk. Then 60% do so within 6 months. The average person makes the same New Year's resolution 10 separate times without success, which is crazy because that's a decade, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
You can only make a resolution, once a year. I mean, technically you can do whenever you want, but a New Year's resolution can only happen once a year. Then some more stats. 5% of those who lose weight on a diet keep it off. That means 95% regain it, and a significant percentage gain back more than they originally lost.
Oh, see? Resolutions are just toxic.
It's insane. And then this one just doesn't have as much to do with resolution, just kind of human nature in general. Even after a heart attack, only 14% of patients make any lasting changes around eating or exercise. So that's really scary to me, man. I think if I went to the doctor and had some serious, ailment, I would do anything and everything in my power to change my life, to try and get better.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we have the Better Humanology podcast. All right, man. So let's talk about it. You hate resolutions, but you like goals. So why are goals different than resolutions to you?
Well, for me, goals they're more structured. I mean, resolutions like you just talked about, people throw the same ones out every year. They're usually similar in nature, and they're just, not achieved. But goals, to me, I found some research from Dr. John Norcross. He's like the head guy on researching change and goals and how they affect us. And he defined goals as a mental representation of a desired outcome that a person is committed to. And so when you read over that sentence, maybe if you were looking at the research I was looking at, you probably would have skimmed over it pretty quickly. But like I did at first. But when I came back to it, I found the word committed. It really stuck out to me because that really is the difference, I feel like, between resolutions and goals. Resolutions is like something like we talked about, you can throw out there, where a goal, you have something you want still, but you dedicate yourself, you commit yourself to achieving that goal. And so that willingness to stick to it and that desire, that passion that comes with the goal, along with the structuring, is why I like goals much better.
Yeah, and a goal, if it comes, and it kind of determines, or should I say matters, where it comes from, whether you're intrinsically motivated or extrinsically motivated. Because I talk to a lot of people who might have the whole lose weight goal, and obviously that's already a bad goal because there's no numbers on it and
Right.
it's not specific and all that other stuff that we can talk about. But I challenge people to maybe have an event-based goal or something as opposed to lose weight. So if you're 5'5" and 250 pounds, maybe don't just say I want to lose weight. Maybe say you want to do a Spartan race in 6 months, because that's totally different now. It's something you signed up for. You got to go do it. You're not going to show up to the race that way. If you're out of shape and you won't be able to lift yourself over any walls or anything, you're just going to train to get the Spartan race done. And what's going to happen in the process? You're going to lose weight. So I always try to challenge people to look at goals a little bit differently than most, because I think they're more achievable if you have some big, intrinsic motivator that keeps you going.
Yeah, I think it would make me more excited. I think if I was preparing for a competition or an event, then just like, oh gosh, now today I have to make sure I eat 2 salads, and then I just feel like it's a positive way to look at it. I know we talked about this in past shows where focus on the positive, not the negative, but I feel like it is. It's like a way to trick yourself into focusing on a more positive, finale to your goal, rather than, oh, I just need to lose weight. Because then every day you wake up negatively. I feel like every day you wake up like, oh gosh, now I have to do this to achieve my goal, and it's not something happy. It's eat better.
And so you brought up an interesting point about kind of positivity versus negativity, and I want to a recent, social interaction. Someone posted on my Into 3 Fitness Facebook page, because I had an article that was about kind of negative reinforcement. And,
right.
I actually use a lot of negative reinforcement with myself. I think it actually works. It works really well for me. I don't recommend it for everyone, because the only reason that means there's going to be some sort of punishment, right, if you do use negative reinforcement. So my goal is to just not fail. And if you don't fail, there'll be no punishment. But some people, if they feel like, well, I'm going to get punished either way, then that's that's not motivating at all. So what are your thoughts on negative reinforcement when you're trying to achieve a goal?
Well, it really depends. Are you bashing yourself? Are you like, if you don't get this, then I'm going to tell you the worst person ever, and you're just so stupid, or something like that? Like, what kind of negative reinforcement? You say, like, you're just
yeah. So you want a specific example on how?
Give me something.
So I mean, a very simple way to use negative reinforcement would be say I was doing a set of rowing intervals or running intervals,
right?
And if I had a meter goal for those intervals and I didn't meet the meter goal, at the end of that workout, I'm going to tack on, a burpee for every meter that I didn't make my goal. So that's like a negative reinforcement. Obviously I'm not a lot of negative self-talk there, but then, there could be other things like I've written about writing if you set a big goal for yourself, tell your spouse or your friend or whatever, or say I tell you and be like, look, Talon, if I don't squat 500 pounds by the end of the year, here's a check for $1,000. I want you to send it to X charity that I hate. Right. It's a charity that I hate. So those kind of negative reinforcements, I don't have a lot of negative self-talk enforced with them. I just know that the punishment will come if I fail. Okay,
see, I don't see that as negative reinforcement. I see that almost as like you're planning, to make adjustments if you fail. I feel like it's positive, because what you're doing is like working yourself further. I don't feel like it's punishment necessarily. You may, because our military background's like, oh, you don't do this right, here's some physical exercise punishment. But I feel like in your sense, you're using that kind of impending more work as a motivator, and I think that's a positive.
I mean, that I would rather have someone tell me everything that's wrong with what I'm doing and not really anything that's right with it, because I would rather try and fix what's wrong to be the best possible.
That's how it works for a lot of people. Right, yeah, exactly what you're talking about. It just depends on the person, how you're motivated. Some people are motivated, like, more so out of, not rewards, but this is what could happen if you don't, do what you're supposed to or accomplish what you need to. And that's kind of like we're playing sports growing up, like every punishment, or I guess the military, every punishment is like a physical, get down, give me 20 or take a couple of laps, something like that. And so I think we learned that early on that, maybe if you're giving yourself extra work, that's punishment. But in your case, man, I really feel like that's what I do too. Sometimes when I'm like, if I don't get a workout quite right how I want it, then I need to do a little bit more work.
Right. You're not better. You need to be better, right?
Yeah.
All right, man. Do you want to talk about my system? Should I go ahead and drop my method, or do you want to cover some more about goals?
Real quickly, I do want to say this is something else that I found in the research. It's going to sound flowery, and that's my style anyway, so nobody's going to be surprised when they hear it from me. But something that also came up in that research about goals, at least in a psychological sense, and that's always the slant I want to try and bring to the show, but it's the fact that setting and striving for goals in and of itself has been shown through the research to increase happiness and to increase feelings of hopefulness, even if you don't achieve the goal. So just the process of going through it that we're about to talk about, Jerry's about to lay out, just the process of identifying things that you want, setting up a plan to try and get it, and then trying and actually attempting and committing yourself to accomplish that goal, all that in and of itself helps to create more happiness and more hopefulness. So really accomplishing the goal is what we want you to be able to get, and this course is what you guys want to be able to get to, but just realize that the process is also beneficial.
Yeah, man, I couldn't imagine waking up every day and not having some goal that I'm working towards.
Something to look forward to. Yeah.
Man, that'd be crazy. All right. Should I lay it out now?
Yeah, break it
Okay.
down for us.
First,
how should we do it?
Let me give a little background. So, I am addicted to productivity. I'm always trying to get more done, but I try to maintain balance at the same time. But during work time, I want to be, super productive. I've tried like every single, planner and journal out there that can try, like that claims to, have some sort of productivity method or goal planning method or whatever. And to be honest, none of them have really worked for me. None of these methods have worked until I stumbled across one last year that's been working incredibly well. So I'm going to lay it out. And Talon, if you have any questions when I'm talking about, you let me know, because I'm sure if you don't understand what I'm going over, no one else is going to understand it. But I do, if you're not driving or whatever right now, I recommend getting a pen and a piece of paper out. And this is all kind of based off of a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. I read that book end of 2014 or maybe earlier. A really good book. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it already. But here's how you kind of do the goal setting or planning, should I say. So you set your yearly goals. So your 1 year goals, what you want to achieve in the next 365 days. And it's recommended that you have 5 personal goals and 5 professional goals. And, brainstorm those for a while. What do you want to achieve? What are you after? It helps to know if you have some bigger purpose in your life. That would really help with those. And then you go further to do, 5 and 5 personal professional for your 5 year goals. And then also have 5 and 5 someday goals. So that's 30 total things you're going to write out, 15 for your personal life and then 15 for your professional life. And that's 1 year, 5 year, and then someday. All right, so you have your long-term goals kind of mapped out, right? And so we're going to then transition from your long-term goals to something that's called what Gary Keller calls a GPS. And just like a GPS in your car, it's going to help you navigate to, your 1 year trip in business or life. It's going to help you kind of stay on point and stay pointed in the right direction.
Oh, okay.
And I know if
it's
I
kind
didn't,
of a grounding tool too.
Yeah, because I keep one of these GPS forms in my calendar. I look at it every day because if there's ever anything that pops up that I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on this today. Well, I'm like, well, it doesn't meet one of my goals. Like my overall goals for this year, that it doesn't fall in line with that. So I can't do that today because, and so I make really hard decisions like that. But the overall, the theme, the idea behind it is the 80-20 rule. And, that's where 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your efforts. And it's trying to help you focus on the 20% that you know are going to help you achieve what you want to achieve. So part one, if you have your pen and paper out, you've already done your long term. Like I said, we're moving to the GPS. Now, here's the thing that can kind of be a little confusing for some people, and that's why I highly recommend you read the book, The One Thing. So you have to set kind of a one thing for the year. So if I had, a business goal or a fitness goal or something, there's got to be one thing that you could achieve that would kind of trump everything else. Like if you achieved it, then everything else wouldn't matter. It's hard to just lay that out there without giving an extreme example. I'll try to, mine are all personal and business related, so I don't know if it'll help as much. But like, for instance, if I wanted to achieve a certain workout, that had multiple, like when I did the workout King Kong, the reason I set King Kong as my goal is because there was a 455-pound deadlift in it, there were muscle-ups in it, and there was a 250-pound squat clean in it. So I knew if I was working towards that goal, I'd have to be, well-rounded, at least in gymnastics and then in my strength training. And that's kind of the thing. If you can achieve that one goal, everything else is going to fall in line. Does that make sense, Talon? Does that make sense to you? Like having one thing?
So it's like one overarching kind of theme for your goals. It's like each goal has an overarching theme or just your next year.
Yeah. So it's your next year. Your next year has one thing. So say personally, I want to take a certain vacation for my family. I want to do certain things with my business. And so, my one thing for the year I could simply say it's business growth, because as my business grows, I'm going to be able to, do the vacation with my family, achieve things that I want to achieve in my business, and, all this other stuff. It doesn't mean
one thing can be kind of broad also.
Yeah, it can be very broad, because I obviously have other goals like fitness goals in my personal and stuff. So it doesn't limit anything. It's just if you achieve your one thing, everything else will be easier.
Yeah,
so,
got
it. So you got your one thing for the year. It's almost like a theme for what you're trying to do in 2016. And then after that, you need to brainstorm the 3 priorities that could help you achieve that one thing. So, whatever those 3 priorities are for you. Maybe we should pick a one thing, Talon. Maybe this will help people out a little bit more. So, should we go fitness related? Just keep it simple.
Sure.
Okay, so should we do some typical lose weight, gain weight?
Yeah, let's do something really generic like that. That's going to be like the majority of people.
Okay, your one thing this year is to lose 20 pounds. So your 3 priorities, in my opinion, if you're trying to lose weight, would be nutrition, fitness, and mindset. Those would be my 3 priorities if I was trying to lose weight, because you got to get your fitness right, you got to get your nutrition right, and then bigger than those 2 things, in my opinion, you have to get your mind right. And so now that you have your 3 priorities, each of those priorities need to have 5 strategies. So this is getting really broken down, right?
Yeah.
and that's as far as I'll take it, because if we don't have to sit here and list it out, you guys can do this exercise of your own. There's one thing, 3 priorities, and each priority has 5 strategies. And obviously, if you were to hop down to the fitness, you'd say, okay, I'm going to do this program. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and work out. You'd have a real good plan with nutrition. I'm going to follow the paleo diet. I'm going to drink more water. You list out 5 strategies to meet that priority, and those priorities are going to help you meet your goal. So I just vomited like a crap ton of information on everyone. But the reason I want to is because I'm actually really passionate about this process, because it's been helping me so much in achieving my goals over the last year. And so once you have that laid out, that's your GPS. That is like your plan for the year. So it sounds like a lot, but it'll probably take you about 20 minutes to do, and then you have a year plan. Like that's it. It's planned out. That's what you're doing. And then you just go month to month, and then each month you're going to want to achieve some of those business and personal goals that you set out, which are the strategies and priorities for your one thing. You break it out each month what you want to achieve, and then after you have the months broken down, you break down 4 weeks per month. So I want to achieve this one this week, this one the next week, this one the next week. You just so on and so forth. And that is actually called your 411 in Gary Keller's model. So the 411 stands for 4 weeks, 1 month, and 1 year. And you keep track of your annual, monthly, and weekly big rocks that you need to be taking care of. So,
So your goal setting, like your 1 year, 5 year, some days, those are really just to show you where you're at, to show you what your outlook is, and to kind of help you, align yourself before you decide on the year theme and the priorities for the year theme, and then the strategies for those priorities.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it.
I mean, because there could be a number of things that, fall in line with, because some stuff is just too easy. Like, if I want to achieve something in fitness, for me, I don't need to write it down as a goal that I'm going to work out every day.
Right.
Just personally, because I've made that such a habit, it's not like it's not going to happen. But I do need to keep focus of what the major goal is, where I'm not spinning my wheels.
Right.
So it does just kind of keep you focused, even if you're already doing some of that stuff.
I like how it's similar to any other goal, setting kind of action plan for you out there, where it's like write down what you want to do and then basically make lists on how you want to plan it. But I feel like this design, it breaks it down to where you get to think on the grand level, and it brings you all the way, like from a big picture all the way down to the specific what you're going to do. I feel like in like the immediate next day. And so I think that's why I really like this outlook that you've set up. I mean, to me, in the Air Force, we even talked about a little bit before the show, is we had SMART goals and stuff like that. But I feel like this really helps to make sure that you focus on not only big picture, but specifics, and then how to get there from one to the other. So
yeah, man, it's been great personally, and that was the main reason I want to share it. Just keeping you focused. Like I said, I keep that GPS document. That's what it's called, the GPS. Keep the GPS on me every single day. I look at it when I'm making decisions about what I'm doing, especially if I'm about to spend an entire day working on something. There's no way on earth I'll do that if it doesn't line up with one of my overarching goals.
right.
And so, yeah, that's...
So it's not a resolution. We didn't make any freaking resolutions this year. But look at us. We already got, plan for how we're going to set up our goals and plan our lives.
I don't have a resolution, but I create a plan. Almost like a personal and professional life plan, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I love it.
I love it too. All right. What else we got? Anything?
We got no, we're not answering questions on this show.
Okay.
Get out and get us some questions, guys. We are eager to interact with you guys and get some of the ideas that you guys have had for shows on the docks, and get it going for this 2016 season.
And I do want to challenge anyone out there to go set at least your year goals, because I think we mentioned at the beginning, but our main reason we want to attack goal setting now, 3 weeks into this year, is because we know so many people struggle with getting stuff done. That's the bottom line. It's challenging. Life pulls you in every direction. I've said it 1,000 times. If we all just had all the time in the day to do what we wanted, everything would get done. But that's not the challenge of life. The challenge of life is having a million other things that you have to do, but still remaining focused on what you need to do. So, I challenge everyone to do this exercise, sit down with pen and paper, actually think about it, and map out your year.
I really love it because you said need real quickly. You said need about what we're talking about, what we need to do, and we have all those things we have to do. But I feel like when you set goals, you plan almost time to get what you want to do done. It's like you're able to structure your life around, because you're putting these goals for what you want, what you want to accomplish, what you want to do. And so I feel like you not only get what you need knocked down, what you have to do, but by using this system, you also get what you want. And that's kind of the fun part about it. All right, great
stuff, man. Till next week. If you guys like the podcast, we would love a 5-star rating and positive review. Does a lot for the show, helps us out, helps us branch out in 2016. And thanks for listening,
guys.
Guys.
More content. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
best. Losers always whine about their best.